1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the Smartest Amazon Seller Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Needham. I am an Amazon seller. I think a lot about the problems that sellers have and actually just how to grow your business. I get really excited about like all the nerdy stuff. We're going to get into something that's very unique, that's had some changes over the years. And I brought a guest that is innovating and offering a really unique perspective on how to launch products in different ways. You can build up attention and win the Amazon algorithm. I have Alina from AZ Rank, who has been around for years. One story I want to dive in with her is she got in business because she actually failed her first product launch. So I like how that kind of puts a chip on her shoulder to keep going. Alina, welcome.
Very happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
All right. So tell us your story and your failure.
Okay, so how this Amazon magic journey, as I like to call it, started, right? It was 2017. My husband and we have a entrepreneurship business, let's say, here in Romania as well, but we're looking to expand into more e-commerce. And he found the Amazon. And we said, okay, let's learn it. Let's try and use the European marketplaces since they were here and closer to us. Let's try to use those and learn Amazon, because we knew from the first sight that wasn't easy. It would be a learning process in the full meaning of it. So we actually did that. We did pretty well, kind of a wholesale model. So we have a toy business here in Romania. We're distributing some particular brands of toys, which some of them come from Europe, some of them are coming from China, toys and baby children articles, right? So we have a warehouse, and I said, since we already have those products in our warehouse, why don't we try to talk to the brands and see if they let us put them on Amazon? So we already use the inventory we have in order before ordering the new one, right? And we did. Actually, they were very big products. They were like garden slides and swings and stuff like that. We were doing them FBM from Romania, but we sold a couple of containers.
In the European markets? Or
Yes, first year was only Amazon UK, and next year we also added out of Romania. Shipping is cheaper here than in the US. I know It sounds crazy, but it actually is. So yeah, that's how it started. And after about 6 months, so before the second summer came for these products, we said, I think I got this. I think I can go right now and start to look into private label, because, private label was the holy thing of Amazon. You needed to be there in the US, right? So looked into baby. I was just having my second baby. So I was a new mom, obviously looking into baby stuff, right? All new moms do that. So I made a baby product after a very long time of research, 8 months or so. Market was nothing. When I launched, the market was nothing similar to what it was 8 months ago. That was actually one of my first mistakes, if I look back right now. Made tons of photos, 50 times photo shoots, everything had to be perfect until the tiniest little detail. Long story short, launch happened, no sales were coming in. I was getting a little bit desperate, starting to look into, learning more and more and specifics for the US market. I remember with one hand, I was pushing the stroller with my baby to fall asleep. And on the other hand, I was with the phone on Instagram, finding influencers and stuff like that to post. YouTube, Pinterest, I tried everything that was available. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for that experience. The learning that happened and the eye-opening that, okay, this is so much more.
It's really interesting that you guys, are out of a country that does not serve, doesn't have like Amazon. So you were able to succeed a little bit in Europe, but found a lot of headwind in the US market. So then you got really more, as your story evolves, because you ultimately now you help launch products.
Yes,
right?
And we have 1.5, let's say, successful brands, 2 successful brands. So we made it. We finally made it.
So you sell your own stuff too. So let's give a little bit of a background before we jump into the next, because I know a little bit about what you do, to give some context of so I have had a few people over the years talk about rebates. I even had a guy, Rebate, jump on and, talked about like, hey, this is term of service compliant, until it wasn't, until Amazon came out and kind of like pushed against and said like, hey, these rebates, rebate key,
Yes.
They pushed them out as like, we think this is manipulative. And so that actually forced a lot of people to like switch strategies, because there were thousands of sellers that were employing these strategies where they would basically have incentivized purchases, not incentivized reviews, just incentivized purchases. And right now, like, that it's impossible to get rid of all of it, but that did stop the way that sometimes people talk about it. I just wanted to give that background, because we're going to talk about, Alina told me about a very interesting innovation here that kind of changes the experience. There will be some similarities. And so, if you guys think this is, not for you, that's okay. I do think that it's worth talking about, but it also leads into a few other services that you've built. The second half, we're going to talk about two new things that you have built off of this service. So that's the background. So tell me a little bit about, search, find, buy, and how you have evolved around what Amazon talks about.
Yes. You either love it or you hate it, right? The search, find, buy. That's how people are about it. In my opinion, it has been there. It was okay, but it has always been in the gray area. I remember even it was maybe 2019 when people were asking new sellers launching their first product, is this okay? Is this TOS compliant? And I always would respond, this is according to your tolerance to risk. I personally believe that you cannot succeed on Amazon, fully succeed, without taking some risks. Some of them may be higher than your initial plan. But yes, I see it in the gray area. The way we do it right now, it has 4 major differences that we tried to correct, to reinvent, to find workarounds for them since TOS changed in 2021 November. So everybody knows that back in the days, it was search, find, buy. Simple as that. Sometimes it wasn't even that. It was just a link. People would use a link, click on it, purchase. Everything was done in 3 seconds. Major issue for the Amazon algorithm, if you ask me. So what did we do? First of all, in one of the interpretations, TOS has hundreds of interpretations. In one of them, in ours, it means that you wouldn't be allowed to give your buyer, either be it ManyChat or search, find, buy, or whatever, friends and family, a specific keyword that he or she should search for, right? So our first modification is this. We either give them a list of keywords to choose from by their own will, by their own buyer behavior. We do not know what keyword they will choose, or no keyword at all for newer products.
Here's a product that we want to do some market research on.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And so then the buyers find the product however they want to. And I understand that you ask them some questions, some market research questions.
Yes. That's step number 2. So this was step number 1. Yes, they search for a keyword of their own will and then find it, right? After they find it, it comes a survey or market research, or however you want to call it, which is custom. I mean, can be customized per seller and per product. You, as a seller and a client of ours, can give us a specific line of questions for each product that you come with. Or we can set up some, let's say, more general questions that we ask about your listing, photos, some competitors that you want to see people's opinions about, stuff like that. So that would be step number 2. Step number 3, it is the purchase. So they actually end up purchasing it. Now, here comes also the third difference, let's say, workaround. I like to use this workaround that we found. We are not paying them as a rebate because it wasn't a rebate. You will see why it wasn't a rebate immediately. It was a market research, and we are paying them for that market research because after the purchase and after the initial market research they did on your listing, it comes another line of feedback from them about the actual product. And these questions can be packaging, size, weight, flavor, color, ideas for new products, whatever you can think about for your product. And that's number 4.
So the difference in the change that I'm just going to summarize what I is this is just like a full on market research. You're going to say you want 30 people to give 30 different opinions on the purchase experience and the unboxing experience, and a competitive landscape of your product. I think, this definitely improves on the letter of the law of what's actually happening. I think some people will interpret this as very similar to the previous thing. And so it can very relate back to, people's opinions. I've never done any of this stuff. I've been very tempted, but ultimately never pulled the trigger. But boy, was it a big deal for a lot of people that launched successful products. This is how they made that difference. And this certainly will have some halo effects. Sure, the surveys are also valuable.
Everything in it has its own little value, which adds together.
Yeah.
Exactly like I always try to explain, especially to newer sellers, that you cannot base yourself, you cannot rely on just one single thing during a launch. Those days are over. You cannot do only rebates. Actually, you cannot do them at all, right? You cannot do only PPC. You cannot do only one thing. You should do a little bit of more. I wouldn't say everything because it's complicated to do everything in 2023 with everything that Amazon changed in the last couple of years. But also, as you said, some sellers had very successful, tons of sellers, millions of sellers had very successful launches using this strategy. But along the way, the ones that actually really succeeded, they had a really actual complex launch plan and had more stuff in it. This was just a tiny little piece, which if you do it, who did it correctly, didn't have anything to suffer back in the days as well.
Okay. And then I think a great way to transition this conversation, but also actually build on it, is talk about UGC, that's user generated content, and how brands are doing this today. A lot of time they want, several UGC creators. And again, they have to have the product. And so they'll have them just purchase it. They could ship it to them directly, or it's just easier and faster. Hey, go purchase this and, we'll reimburse. But around this idea of creating a UGC content where the customers create their own video response of the product. So you already have an audience that are buying this product. So you certainly can leverage them to create UGC, which is generally considered just unprofessional video.
Real life, I call it.
A real life review.
Correct. Yes. It's called Fotolive with an F, and we have it since last year. We use not all of them. There is a very complex process of selecting the people that actually can create, because our creators aren't influencers, right? They do not go and have audiences on.
They make money just on creating the content, not
just creating the content. Exactly. Just creating the content. And that content can be, of course, photos, which you can furthermore edit to make it professional looking and use it on your listing or your A+ or social media, or videos that you can use wherever. Especially, I recommend filling in the related video line underneath your listing from day one, because this way Amazon likes that a lot. And if you don't fill it in, your competitors will jump on your listing and fill that in. And also something that I would like to share for your audience is very, very underused section of our PDP, which is the Q&A section. A very small percentage of sellers actually use that to upload videos. You can answer the questions with a video, and you can have that question answered in such a nice way that you can explain so much more about your product. That's also something that we do with our UGC. We can, for example, provide answers to a line of 10 questions that you can answer in a matter of a few weeks. And then you'll have all those videos, which will look like some video reviews on top of the actual reviews, because that section, those videos actually show on top of the reviews. So people scrolling down to the reviews, especially on mobile, are going to find those.
Interesting. So this UGC becomes not necessarily just like UGC that can be used in like brand content, but kind of like
Part of your Amazon listing.
Yeah, part of the Amazon listing and the reviews. Like it really much feels like this, like, you know, the user videos that I see on product pages, they're very much a part of the review system. And sometimes they're actually a video review of the product. Is that right? Or are they separate? Is the videos from customers, is that separate from like the product reviews?
No, they show up together on top on all the videos.
Okay. Wow. Very interesting. So the same people.
It's not done at the same time. So
not done at the same time. It's not the same transaction or whatever, you know, like it's a separate.
No, yes, it's separate. We need to discuss it separately. There are the same people, but somehow different. Each has their own job or a job at a time. But
Okay.
yes, we're building up on our very valuable people database to leverage UGC, which has already begun to be very important. And I think in the next year, it's going to be everything people are going to talk about.
I mean, even on Amazon's little TikTok clone, Inspire, I think that is like a little bit of UGC there as well. It's very product focused. And actually, I think Amazon is paying some of those creators an affiliate commission for their Inspire videos.
I'm not sure.
Shoot, Amazon pays people in all sorts of ways. They got affiliate commission. I've got a friend that gets paid just for sending Amazon his shopping receipts. If he goes, if he goes grocery shopping, he takes a picture, sends it to Amazon, and he only gets like, you know, $10, $20 a month. But like,
still,
he does it. And I like roll my eyes. I'm like, this is just not even worth the efforts to me. I think to him, it's just kind of found money. UGC actually has a different, I did not realize to like leverage UGC on the customer videos. If I had thought about that, I would have created a podcast just to talk about this specific thing, because I know there are some products that are underutilizing this. Brands that could lean in further with their customers to be like, upload these videos so that, you know, and hopefully get a few really solid ones that help people understand the product benefits. And so definitely part of a launch strategy or even just an improvement strategy.
Works at any time, at any moment. If you're talking about a brand new launch, since you've been working on that product for so long, why wouldn't you want to make it live with a full list of videos there? Because, you know, you're pushing a lot of money into PPC and doing all kind of this and that. People getting on your listing should have more than just a couple of photos, maybe the A+ and one video, right? If they can, if there's room for that, why don't you use it for free for now? We don't know how long it's going to be for free.
Absolutely. And then the final thing that like part of AZ Ranks like repertoire that you have is something that I've always found very fascinating. I still don't fully understand that. I've used the service myself, but it's like press coverages or like a PR release around a product. Now, I've done this for like Smart Scout as we've like, you know, want to get a little bit of like coverage, but there's things called like a wire where like you can like do a press release on a wire, whether like that's Google News or I think Cision is the company that has a wire. I don't fully understand it. All I know is there's a lot of people in the press and the PR industry. They put together a release, put it on the wire, and then all of a sudden that gets blasted to like, you know, 30, 40 websites.
Exactly. That's the press release.
Yes.
What we do is a little bit different than that. I don't know how to better call it. It can be a product review inside a publication, or it can be a press article talking about your product. But it's basically a full piece of content with photos, sometimes video, links to your Amazon product or web store, or can be Shopify, whatever. So this is not just Amazon, but talking about our Amazon example, right? It's a full piece of content. It's like, I don't know, you're reading a magazine, a live magazine of a couple of pages talking about something, a product or a person, right? Our publishers are not this kind of what you said, like Yahoo or Google News or all the press release types of publications. Ours are like Cosmopolitan, Refinery 29, Pop Sugar, Bustle, Forbes, those type of magazines that actually write full article talking about, most of the times they require samples. They test the product they're going to write about, and then they will give a review. So the way we do it, inside the article, of course, that talks about your product, there's a link that goes to your Amazon listing, right? That link would be the attribution. This way, all the conversions that you get from that article will get you your 10% bonus back because of using the attribution link. That's one thing. And second thing, which I think is the most important, and the thing that differentiates us from anybody else out there, is that we are a CPC-based model. So you only pay for the clicks you get on the link inside the article. So not on the article itself. We don't charge for the people that read the article. We charge only for the people that click and go to your product on Amazon.
So this service is like, reaching out to like a Forbes or whatever, and be like, hey, we want to do a editorial on a product. And based off of the clicks that generates, that's how sellers would be paying for the service. Is that right?
Yes, correct. There are some budget tiers. Let's take an example. I think it's easier like that. You want to launch a product, right? You're coming to us, and I'm going to say, this product would fit into Forbes and Cosmopolitan and Bustle, right? Each of these public publishers require a $6,000. That's the actual amount. Promise. So not charge. Nothing will be charged. Just a commitment from your side that once the article is live and it performs well, because sometimes you'll see, I'm going to explain, sometimes there aren't enough clicks to reach the budget. So if this article goes well within the next weeks, months, you agree to pay the full $6,000, or maybe even increase it if you're happy with the results, right? So that's their required budget because they are writing the article. Each publisher are writing their own piece, are testing the samples, and are doing all the research about your product, right? Okay, so you say, okay, I'm fine with that. I will promise to pay $6,000 if this campaign, if this article performs. And then the article goes live and you only get, I don't know, 200 clicks, or let's say 500 clicks at a $2 click, at a $2 CPC. That's $1,000. That's all that you're going to pay. Your article is going to be in Forbes, stay there forever. You can use it in your, I don't know, featured in and stuff like that. The SEO runs on it because it's still going to be on Google and everything. And you can use it in blogs, but you're not going to pay nothing more than just those clicks.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting and a unique way. Sounds like it's like off Amazon CPC, like where,
kind of, yes.
And it can be very much based off of performance. And the questions that I would be asking would be, okay, what type of article and how well is the audience going to be lined up with the use case of needing this product? Either way,
depends a lot on the product too,
Of course, exactly. Those are the questions that people want to ask, is like what products this is best for. Well, Alina, I think you're unique out there. You're being very creative in bringing attention and improving, a product's ability to sell through. All three of these were unique. You got a market research / search find by kind of optimization.
It has a name. I baptized it STORE, which comes from Scan, Test, Observe, and Report.
STORE. There we go. STORE, Scan, Test, Observe, and Report. So gone is search, find, buy.
Gone.
We don't have that. We don't say those words. That's a cuss word around. And then the second is this UGC and the
Fotolive. Yes.
Fotolive, as you call it. And then it sounds like you need a name for this press coverage.
PressX. It has a name. PressX. PressX.
Okay. 3 interesting services. If anyone's interested, how can they get a hold of you?
The easiest way is by email, and that's the place where I respond faster. It's my name, Alina, ALINA, at azrank.com.
azrank.com. Awesome. The truth is I think most of those, we could dive in further on each of those, and every seller's going to have a unique perspective. But at the very least, I think it's interesting. I always want to know, about new tricks and optimizations. and new ways of thinking of growing attention, audience, and sales on Amazon products. And I think you have a few that can be very helpful. And you do it all the way from Romania. I'll have to be honest, like your English accent is pretty darn good.
Thank you. You should try Romanian.
I was telling Alina, like my wife's been to Romania several times. Like her family's sounds tough. Well, thank you, Alina, for your time. That's our show. Stay tuned for the next one. Cannot wait to see you again. All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
1, 2, 3.